Sakafet YouTube, and welcome back to my channel. Here's a compilation of the favorites and most popular Caribbean soups. Darlings, it's so nice to have you back here in my kitchen for yet another amazing recipe. We're jumping straight into it. Over here I've got my goat meat. This is about 500 grams of goat meat. I already cleaned it with lemon juice, vinegar and cold water. Gonna add it to my pan with a little bit of salt and 1 bay leaf and add enough water to cover up the meat. Let it boil on low heat for about an hour to an hour and a half, or until a bit tender. And yes, darlings, over here I've got my food processor. I'm throwing in some onions, garlic, spring onions, bell peppers, parsley, coriander, whatever seasonings that you prefer to make a fresh green seasoning. I prefer to use fresh seasoning in my cooking, but yes, darlings, we're making a quick green seasoning, and the thing is, any excess can go in a jar to stay in the fridge. It could last a good week or two depending on how much you cook with it. Mine usually lasts me for like at least a week. Once the seasoning was all blended up, I did set it to one side, and then we are going to check on our meat. I've just checked on my meat. It's been going for a good hour or so. I'm gonna let it keep on cooking down till it's a bit softer. And yes, darlings, I'm gonna add in a little bit of flour to a bowl, as well as some cornmeal. Add a pinch of salt, and then you're just gonna go ahead and just mix that in. Add a little water gradually, and you want to knead it until you have a nice dough. And this is pretty much how I make my dumplings. I like to let my dough rest because I find that the dumplings taste so much better when you let the dough rest. So yes, darlings, once you have a nice firm dough, cover it up, and once it's time to put it in, I'll show you. So my meat had been cooking for a good hour and 20 minutes so far, and it's nice and tender. So I am going to go ahead and just transfer it to a bigger pot. It's going to cook down a little bit more in the main pot. But yes, darlings, as you can see, it's not too soft and falling apart. But yeah, it's going to keep on cooking in the big pot with some seasonings and flavor and all that good stuff. Okay, so using my gorgeous Le Creuset I got for Christmas, go ahead and just transfer the cooked meat to that pot. Then we're gonna add in a little bit more hot water from the kettle. Love to keep my kettle freshly boiled once I'm cooking. And then we are gonna remove the bay leaf as well. Make sure to remove that bay leaf. It's already served its purpose, okay? Then yeah, just add some more water from the kettle. Add in some fresh green seasoning, all-purpose seasoning, mixed herbs. Add some curry powder. I'm gonna add some, guys, honestly, just load it up with delicious seasonings. And yes, my loves, this was just so good. I am gonna add in 2 chopped up potatoes in there as well, because anytime I make these soups, I love to add potatoes because I can easily crush some for my baby girl. And yes, my darlings, I also added celery powder as well. So delicious. So once we added in the potatoes, go ahead and cover it up for about 10 minutes or so. Then we'll come back and add in our dumplings and all that good stuff. So once I added in my dumplings, I added in 1 bowl of frozen spinach and 1 scotch bonnet pepper. You can always just taste and adjust for salt or seasonings. And yes, my darlings, I am gonna go ahead and just let it cook for about 10 minutes before stirring it up. By then my dumplings are pretty much cooked. And yes, my darlings, this is looking so amazing, and I can assure you it's so comforting. Go ahead and give it a good mix and then cover for 5 more minutes before removing that scotch bonnet pepper. So this is it all done, guys. This was just so delicious. It took minimal effort and it was so comforting, so delicious. To think I made this with oxtail just yesterday, and then my husband was like, yeah, you need to run it back. So today I made it with goat, but you could use any meat of your choice to make this delicious soup, and it's just as comforting. So I'm gonna go ahead, remove the scotch bonnet pepper, give it a final mix, and then I'm gonna cover it up, turn it off at least 5 minutes before serving it up. And this is pretty much how I make my delicious goat soup. But yeah, I really hope you enjoy the recipe. Try it soon. Let me know what you think about it. It's been a pleasure having you here, of course, and I can't wait to see you in my next one. Thank you for watching. Hello my darlings, it's so nice to have you back here in my kitchen for yet another amazing recipe. Today we're making chicken soup, and here's an ingredient breakdown. So we got our black pepper, some red seasoning from Spice Jamaica, our squash, potatoes, carrots, garlic and ginger. I also got the beautiful biggest jar of freshly blended green seasoning. I already have a recipe, okay? So we had some spinach, scotch bonnet pepper, our chicken, of course. We also had some cornmeal and plain flour for some dumplings, okay? So to the chicken, I went in with my seasonings. I'm gonna add in a little bit of salt and freshly cracked black pepper, of course. I forgot to show me grating the garlic and ginger in there, but I definitely added some. Added my all purpose seasoning, some green seasoning, of course, and then I give that a really good mix, okay? Once it's fully mixed in, I let it marinate for a bit, and then we're gonna go ahead and put everything together. Using my Le Creuset, I'm gonna go ahead and just put it on the stove like so. Such a beautiful pot. I got it for Christmas, and yeah, my husband did really good. So I went in with a little bit of oil, let that heat up for a bit. As you can see, I'm grating the garlic and ginger on the side because I forgot to, and yeah, you just cannot have enough garlic and ginger. It's optional, but trust me, if you try it, you'll definitely agree that it gives the food such a beautiful flavor. I'm now gonna go ahead and just add in that seasoned chicken in the hot oil, and then you just want to cover it up, okay? Don't stir it or anything, cover it up, and then after about 5 minutes or so, I'll come back so we can add in some water. So 5 minutes later, I went in with about 4 cups of water to the same bowl that the chicken was seasoned in. I put in a little bit more of my freshly cracked black pepper, a little curry powder, and then I'm just gonna go ahead and just put my pieces of frozen squash on the top. I usually buy my pumpkin or my squash and I freeze it in the freezer because that's the only way to stop it from spoiling. And then I'm just gonna place it on the top like this, cover it up for about 5 minutes or so that it can steam. And then after about 5 minutes, as you can see, this is how it's looking. I love to just go ahead and just transfer it to a blender. We're gonna blend it up with just a little bit of cold water. Then we're just gonna pour it back into the pot. Now that my blended squash is back in the pot, I'm going to go ahead and just add in my chunky pieces of carrots. I usually make my carrots so much smaller, but today I thought, yeah, let's just put them like that. And then I'm also going to go in and add in my potatoes, and we're just going to let that boil for a bit, okay? So I like to just let that boil with the chicken and the carrots and potatoes. Just let everything boil down for a good couple of minutes, and then we're going to just work on the dumplings. So for the dumplings, very easy. I've made dumplings on my channel so many times before. I'm going to go in with some plain flour and a little bit of cornmeal with a little pinch of salt. And then I'm just going to mix that in well. I'm going to add in some water gradually. I always say to you guys, the more water you add, the softer the dumpling. Or if you add less water, you will have a firmer dumpling, okay? So I prefer to add the water gradually and just work my way till I have a nice firm dough. And then once the dough is fully combined, I like to let my dumplings rest, okay? So I let my dough rest, I'd say for at least 10 minutes or more. It tastes so much better when you let the dough rest before you roll out the dumpling. And yes, my darlings, take it from me, okay? Let that dough rest, and then we're gonna add it to the pot after about 10 minutes, okay? It's been about 10 minutes or so, and as you can see, the pot is coming along beautifully. I've just rolled out my dumpling in my hand like this, and I'm just making some long ones today. I have so many different shapes on how to make dumplings, but honestly, it doesn't matter. It all tastes the same. And yeah, I'm gonna add it to the pot, and then we're gonna add in the spinach ball as well with a little bit more seasonings if you have or if you want to. And yes, darlings, the dumplings will take about 5 or 10 minutes to cook, and then your pot of soup will be ready, okay? Yes, my darlings. So in total, we have about an hour on the clock, and my dumplings, my soup, and everything, it's all ready. My scotch bonnet pepper is still intact, so you know this soup is flavorful and it's not spicy. Yes, darlings, look at that. Oh my gosh. We had a heat wave in the UK last week, and this week it's chilly, so you know the best way to enjoy it is with a beautiful pot of soup. And I have shared lots of soup recipes on my channel. I'll create a compilation for them so you'll be able to choose which of them that you like the most. But yes, my loves. Gonna go ahead and just serve up a beautiful bowl of this gorgeous soup because we're gonna be eating this nice and hot. And as you can see, some of the chicken has started falling apart, so you're gonna have some beautiful chunky pieces of chicken with every single bite you take. I'm also gonna serve up some for my baby girl. I just wanted to show you guys that, you know, sometimes it's really nice when you can let your children eat from the pot. People always ask me, Terry-Ann, what do you give your daughter? What do you give your baby? She's only 1 year old, and honestly, I just always give her from the pot. It never has too much strong seasonings, lots of fresh seasonings used, and I usually just add some to the pot, you know, chicken, dumplings, whatever it is. I just mix it in like that, and she eats it so very well. I really hope you enjoy the recipe. Try it soon. Let me know what you think about it. It has been a pleasure having you here, and I can't wait to see you in my next one. Thank you for watching. Hello my darlings, it's so nice to have you back here in my kitchen for yet another amazing recipe. We're jumping straight into it. Over here I've got some red beans that soaked overnight and I've just put it to boil for a bit, and then we're going to go ahead and add in the salted chicken to my pot. This pot I got it from Lidl. I've had it for about 4 or 5 years. The OGs on YouTube that follow me for the past 5 to 6 years would have seen this pot already. It's old, but I love it and I love making my soups in there. Don't ask me why, but I prefer a wide pot to make my soups than a deep pot. This chicken is salted, by the way. It's not that it's not seasoned, it's salted. I literally just put some salt on it and left it overnight in the fridge, and then I added a little bit of oil to a pot, add in the salted chicken, go ahead and just, you know, mix it up, give it about a minute or so just to cook a bit. And yes, my darlings, once that's done, I like to just go ahead and just pour in the cooked beans over it. Now the thing with the beans actually cook so much quicker when you let it soak overnight, so this is why it didn't take me as much time to cook the beans. But yeah, if you soak your beans overnight to make the recipe the following day, that works out to be so much better. I'm gonna go ahead and just add the beans to the pot, water and everything. I actually needed a little bit more water, so I actually filled up the pot again and then just poured some more water into the pot before going in with some mixed herbs, adding some freshly cracked black pepper. Bear in mind the meat was already salted, so I'm a bit mindful about adding any additional salts as yet. But yeah, adding some curry powder, give it a good mix, and then we're gonna go ahead and just work on some dumplings. So whilst this is boiling, I like to work on my dumplings. So I'm going to go ahead and add in some plain flour to a bowl, followed by some cornmeal. I prefer cornmeal dumplings over plain ones. So yeah, add some cornmeal to the flour. Add a little pinch of salt. It's optional, but I just prefer it in my dumplings anyway. And then I'm just going to go ahead and mix that in well. Add a little bit of water. You know, the more water you add in, the softer the dough, the less water, the harder, the firmer the dough. And then after I've mixed it in well with my water and everything, I like to go in with my hand, knead it for about 2 to 3 minutes, and then you want to allow it to rest. Okay, I find that dumplings that rest taste so much better. So yes, my darlings, once we have a dough, let it rest for a bit, and then closer to the finishing time for the one pot, that's when we're going to add in the dumplings. So I'm back to my soup pot now, and as you can see, it's been boiling away beautifully. My heat is sort of like on a low to medium heat. Give that a good stir up. As you can see, the chicken has gotten brown from the red beans. Over here, I'm going to add in some potatoes and some carrots. Just chopped up 2 potatoes and 2 carrots just to add in this. Baby loves potatoes and carrots, and especially in a soup, I think it's just a really brilliant way to get them to eat from the pot, because the dumplings can probably be a bit too hard at that stage. She's only 1, so yes, darlings. Once I've added that in, I like to just go ahead, just cover it up, let the potatoes start cooking. At least 10 minutes into the cook time, we're gonna go ahead and add in the dumplings and stuff. Okay. I also forgot to add in my grated ginger and garlic, so I'm gonna go ahead and add that in now and then just cover up the pot. Okay, we just added it together with the potatoes and the carrots. I literally forgot to add mine, so yeah, rinse out the bowl so nothing gets left behind, and then we're gonna cover that up, let that cook for about 10 minutes or so before we're gonna go back in with those delicious dumplings. And then I just go in with my dumplings as well. So I pretty much just pinch off a piece, roll it in my hand like this, and then I just use a knife to cut it into small dumplings like that. Self-explanatory. And then I'm gonna go ahead and just add it to the pot. Okay, and the dumplings will take about 5 to 10 minutes to cook, but yes darlings, there's so many ways to make dumplings. So go ahead and add it to the pot, and then we're just gonna So now that my dumplings has been added, I added just a little bit of water just to increase the water level a bit. Added 2 balls of frozen spinach and 1 scotch bonnet pepper. I'm also just going to add in a little bit of this aromat all-purpose seasoning, about half a spoon, okay? And then you can always just taste and adjust. Remember the chicken was salted. And yes, my darlings, after boiling for about 5 minutes, I'm going to go ahead and just stir up the pot just to incorporate everything. Not fully cooked yet. It's actually been going for a good 45 minutes so far, and absolutely love it. So usually I let the peas cook on the side, let it, just soften and everything, and then I cook the chicken for at least 20 minutes before adding in the peas and then water and everything. So it's a gradual step-by-step process, but as you can see, chicken is starting to fall apart. This just needs another 5 minutes at maximum and it will be ready. It looks so good, and you can just imagine how amazing it smells. One thing about me, I'm big on fresh seasoning. So I actually chopped up some bell peppers with onions and spring onions and seasoning peppers and everything to add to the pot just for the remaining 5 minutes, just to add some flavor back into the pot. And yes, my darlings, after about 5 minutes, this is looking so good. Like, oh my goodness, so good. My baby gets all the nutrients, my kids, they get all the nutrients from this fresh cooking. I know a lot of times people love cooking with all of these extra powdered seasonings. I try to just stay away from that a bit. I prefer to use the fresh ones where I have it. And this is not to bash anybody, but let me know in the comments, do you prefer using fresh seasonings? I'd much rather using onions than onion powder, or garlic, fresh garlic than just garlic powder. So yes, go ahead and remove the scotch bonnet from the pot. This pot of soup is ready to serve. Oh my goodness, look at that. I'm gonna go ahead and dish up a bowl so you guys can see how amazing it's looking. But yes, my loves, oh my god, so good. I really hope you enjoy this recipe. Try it soon. Let me know what you think about it. We're eating this at least once a week in my house, and honestly, you cannot go wrong. Thank you so much for watching, and I can't wait to see you in my next one. Hello my darlings, it's so nice to have you back here in my kitchen for yet another amazing recipe. I know I've been gone for a while, but hey, I'm back. We're making some salted chicken and dumpling soup, and we're jumping straight into it. Over here I've got my pot and I went in with some oil. This is some salted chicken drumsticks. The way that I salted this meat, I usually just add about 2 tablespoons of salt to the chicken, put it in a Ziploc bag and put it in the fridge for about 2 days. This is how I salt my meat. Okay, so I went ahead and I added it to the pot, and then I'm just gonna let it cook for about 5 minutes. Okay, I'll turn it on both sides. Now this is not going to have lots of color just because the meat is salted. Okay, so the reason you did not see me season it is because it already has salt. Okay, so after letting it cook for about 2 to 3 minutes on both sides, I love to just go ahead and add in some lentils, some water and some seasonings. This is usually how I make the soup. Okay, So once I add in the lentils, I also like to go in with some freshly cracked black pepper. Love this rainbow peppers. I got it from Home Bargains, I think it was. I also go in with some curry powder for some color, some mixed herbs. I love to add in some freshly grated garlic and ginger. Oh my goodness, I've been loving this combination in my food lately, and oh my gosh, you cannot go wrong. And this is me just rinsing out the bowl with some of the sauce from the pot because again, nothing no waste, okay? Then we're gonna cover that up and let that boil for about 20 minutes, okay, so the lentils can cook. And then over here I've got a bowl. I'm going in with some plain flour. Also like to add in just a little bit of cornmeal. I love to make my dumplings like that. You don't have to put too much cornmeal, about a spoon or two is fine. And then if you want, you can add in some salt. I like to just add just a little pinch of salt in the dumpling. That is optional. Again, you can do it however you like, but I just add a little pinch, nothing too much. Then just use this and just mix it up. Go in with some water, add in some water gradually, and then the more water you add, the softer the dough, the less water, the firmer the dough. So I like to mix it up like this first, and then I go ahead and just knead it by hand. And this is how I make my dumplings. Now the thing is, a lot of times people always wonder why is it that dumplings don't come out smooth and nice. It's because you literally knead the dough and then cook it straight away. I always find when you make the dumplings and you let it rest a bit, it tastes so much better. Take it from me, make your dumplings, let it rest for about 10 minutes at least, and then we're gonna go ahead and roll it up. So I'm back to my soup pot, and as you can see, it's boiling away beautifully. I'm gonna go ahead and just add in some chopped potatoes and carrots. I love adding that into the soup because my baby has been eating from the pot and it's so wonderful. So I always try to incorporate things that she can have. I love when I just crush the potatoes and carrots in the sauce for her with some chicken and stuff, and she eats that so well because I really want her to get into that good Caribbean cooking, okay? So after that, I go in with some freshly chopped seasoning. This is some bell peppers with some onions and seasoning peppers, and then I just go in with my dumplings as well. So I pretty much just pinch off a piece, roll it in my hand like this, and then I just use a knife to cut it into small dumplings like that, self-explanatory. And then I'm gonna go ahead and just add it to the pot, okay? And the dumplings will take about 5 to 10 minutes to cook, but yes darlings, there's so many ways to make dumplings. So go ahead and add it to the pot, and then we're just gonna let that cook down. Once all the dumplings have been added to the pot, look at my fancy scotch bonnet pepper. I actually buy my scotch bonnet pepper in bulk, and I freeze it and I just wash it off and use it that way. I also add 1 ball of frozen spinach. I get it from Morrison's, and it's just a really nice way to add iron and stuff to your soups. And I add a little bit of water, and then I let that just boil down on low for about 10 minutes or so. Now everything is pretty much done. This soup recipe is so easy, honestly. It just cooks so quickly, and it's just all done in one pot, which is absolutely amazing. So I'm just gonna go ahead and mix it up well, and give it another minute or so, because after I mix it up, I just like to give it another minute. As you can see, the potatoes are cooked, it's starting to fall apart. So the longer you leave it, it will break apart, and I don't want a mushy mess. I still want the potatoes to still remain whole because I want to crush it for my baby. The scotch bonnet pepper, you can go ahead and take it out as well, because you do not want it to burst, because then the soup becomes too spicy. However, if you're into spice, you can definitely let it burst. So I'm gonna go ahead and just mix it one more time. The soup is all ready. I usually like to just serve this, and yes darlings, look at that, so nice, so delicious. So I really hope you enjoy the recipe. Try it soon. Let me know if this is something that you would eat. We love this in St. Lucia in the Caribbean, and it's so delicious. Thank you so much for watching, and I can't wait to see you in my next one. Hello my darlings, it's so nice to have you back here for yet another amazing recipe. As promised, this year I promised to bring lots of new recipes that I haven't done on the channel before, and today is no exception. Today we're making cow heel soup. These are some of my ingredients as you can see here, and we're gonna jump straight into it. Okay, so got my cow heel from London. I was actually there the past weekend, and it was already, I like the way that they already cleaned it, so like they burnt off the hairs and stuff. So all I had to do was just soak it in lemon and vinegar and water for a good couple of hours. And yes darlings, I really like that, so I think I'm gonna stick to buying mine from the market. I went ahead and I just transferred it into a pan with some water, and then I also just added in 2 bay leaves and a little bit of salt. Okay, generous amount of salt. And I'm gonna let that boil for about an hour, but I will show you guys. Once it started boiling, about 20 minutes in, as you can see, it's got lots of scum on the top. You want to use a spoon and just go ahead and just scoop that off. Now this is my own personal preference, you don't have to do this. If you trust me, do this and you'll have some delicious clear soup. Okay, once I've gone ahead and just scooped off all of that scum, it will actually keep on building, and after a while it just stops making, so just keep your eyes out for that. And I also like to scoop off any excess oil and stuff, so you'll see me doing that throughout the video, and this has only been going for about 20 minutes. So it's been almost about an hour now, and as you can see, I'm just scooping off all of the excess oil. Look at that guys, scum oil. Oh, we don't want this in our soup. I've got my squash. I actually took half of the small squash that I had earlier. I don't really get pumpkin that easily, so I'm using squash, and I'm just gonna add it on the top here like this. Give it about 5 to 10 minutes because I just want it to soften, because I am gonna be blending it once it softens up. But yes my darlings, this is honestly my own preference and how I love to make my soup. While the squash was softening up, this is where I like to just go in and just prep my other ingredients. So my carrots, my potatoes, got a corn. I've also got this beautiful yam. My hubby got it from me on the weekend as well, so I'm gonna be adding it in there. I love to add lots of things to my soup because honestly I'm not really a fan of dumplings. However, the boys and my hubby love dumplings. I prefer yam or potatoes, and my boy, he prefers potatoes, so everybody has what they prefer, and I make sure to put it in the soup. That way everybody is happy. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and just prep everything, peel the potatoes, the carrots and the yam and everything, and then we're gonna go ahead and just chop it up, slice it up to what we have to do, and wash it and add it to the pan a bit later on. Once I was done peeling my yam, the yam was so beautiful. I'm going to show you a tip on how to preserve it. I just go in with some cinnamon, just cinnamon powder, and I just go ahead and just cover the top where I cut it and then just dust off any excess. And I'm just going to pop it into my cupboard, and this is going to keep nice and it will stay for a while. So try that. Let me know how you think about, how to preserve your yam if it worked for you. Okay, so after about 10 minutes or so, we're done prepping the ingredients on the side, and I'm gonna go ahead and just take all the squash, put it into my food processor, and then we're just gonna go ahead and just give it a quick pulse because we want this to be nice and smooth. Because my baby is currently eating, she's just trying little things. This would be like a perfect little treat for her if I just blend it up and I just take a couple of spoons from it, and she'll just eat it like that with all the flavors from the cow heel soup and all that good stuff. So yes, my darlings, go ahead and just blend that up, and then we are going to set it to one side. Okay. So from my beautiful pot collection, I did go ahead for this pot again, and honestly I thought it was a good idea at the time, but my goodness, go ahead and just add in a little bit of oil to the pan, and then we're going to add in some green seasoning, and then we're just going to add in the cow heel that's already been cooked. Go ahead and just mix it in the green seasoning just to coat it in all that beautiful flavor and all that stuff. Then we're going to go ahead and just add in all the leftover stock from the pot, and then add in the blended squash. Guys, the video is self-explanatory, so I'm just going to show you what I'm doing. Because I love to keep my soup as simple and fresh as possible, I try to limit how many seasonings I put in there. So I find that the green seasoning is more than enough. However, I will go in and add in a little bit of black pepper and some Spice Jamaica all-purpose seasoning. I love these seasonings so much. And then I'm going to go ahead and just give that a good mix before adding in all of my chopped potatoes and carrots and my yam and all that good stuff. And then let that boil for about 10 minutes or so, okay, before you add in the dumplings. Whilst that is boiling, I like to go ahead and make my dumplings. So go in with a little bit of flour. I like to go in with some cornmeal as well. I find that the cornmeal just gives it so much of a nicer taste. So just some cornmeal dumplings, and you can just add a little pinch of salt. It's optional, it's up to you. And you want to just go ahead and mix that in well before adding in some water gradually. Pretty much want to form a nice firm dough. Some people prefer softer dumplings or harder dumplings. I like a bit of both, so I don't really mind. But yes, darlings, if you add more water, it will give you a softer dumpling. More flour, it will give you a more firm one. Okay, a firmer one. So yes, darlings, once the dumpling was all done and we had a beautiful dough going on, I did go ahead and just cover it up, let it rest for at least 5 minutes at least. The longer you let it rest, the better the dumpling tastes. Take it from TERRI-ANN, the dumpling tastes better if you give it a couple of minutes to rest. Been about 10 minutes so far, and then I'm just gonna go ahead and just stir up my pot. Guys, this is where I felt like I actually should have taken a bigger pot to do this soup, because my goodness, it was just too much for the pots. But did I listen? Nope, I carried on. And it didn't really spill, but I will say that it was really hard to mix it up without making a mess everywhere. So don't be like me, take a big pot. So before you comment, Terri-Ann, the pot too small, I can see that with my eyes. The pot is too small. Yes, darlings, I added the dumplings. I covered it up without stirring it up, just because I wanted it to steam and cook for about 5 minutes, and then we can go ahead and just stir it up, because then the dumplings are already cooked. It's not going to break or anything. I also like to go in with a 1 Scotch bonnet pepper at this time for flavor. I don't really like to add the Scotch bonnet at the start, because sometimes I find that it can rip a little bit and then it would be a bit spicy, and I've just been trying to feed my baby from the pot, so no spice for us. So I like to add the Scotch bonnet pepper towards the end of the meal instead of at the start like I would usually do in my other recipes. So yes, my darlings, this is looking so good. I'm gonna add 1 ball of frozen spinach. This is optional, but I just love to incorporate a little bit of greens and iron and stuff into the food as well. But yes, darlings, after about an hour and a half in total, this is the soup. It came out so good. Go ahead and stir it up, because yes, my darlings, again, my pot was too small, so I couldn't even really stir up the thing the way I wanted, man. But the cow heel was cooked to perfection. It was soft. It was so good. Really hope you enjoy this beautiful cow heel soup recipe. I'm gonna go ahead and remove that Scotch bonnet pepper before it bursts in the pot. Yes, I really hope you enjoy the soup recipe. I am gonna go ahead and plate it up to show you how amazing it came out, and oh my goodness, I really hope you try the recipe. Check the description box for all of the ingredients that I used, of course, and I cannot wait to see you in my next one. Let's go ahead. Terry is gonna plate you up a bowl, because if you made it towards the end of this video, you deserve a nice bowl of this cow heel soup. Thank you so much for watching. Hello my darlings, it's so nice to have you back here in my kitchen for yet another amazing recipe. Guys, it's the middle of winter and it's been so cold lately, and this is all my body has been craving. So let me show you how I make my beef soup. So over here I've got some ingredients. This is not all what I'll be using, but these are just some of the main ones. So we need the beef, the green seasoning, we got our potatoes, carrots, flour, and all that good stuff. And then over here we're gonna go ahead and just transfer that cleaned beef to a pot. Okay, this beef is already cleaned with some lemon juice and vinegar and water to get rid of some of the excess blood. And I went in with about 4 cups of water to the pan with my salt and 1 bay leaf. And I'm gonna let that boil for about an hour. Okay, this beef is fresh, so it's gonna cook really quickly. Okay, so while the beef was cooking, I wanted to make my dumplings and set it to one side because I've got baby with me and I just wanted to get everything done out of the way, so that way if she starts to fuss, most of the prep is done. So I've got about, I want to say about a cup of flour or less, and some cornmeal. A little sprinkle of salt is optional, and I'm going to gradually add in some water, mix it with my spatula before introducing my hand because I just don't like the feel of flour on my hands. And then you want to knead it into a dough. And then once you have that dough, set it to one side. You can just let it rest. I find dumplings taste so much better when the dough has rested a bit. So yes, my darlings, make your dough, set it to one side, and then we're going to work on something else. So over here, my beef has been boiling for about 45 minutes to 1 hour. Guys, it spilled onto the stove after I hated that. I did go ahead and just uncover it, and I wanted to show you all the gunk that's accumulated under the lid. Oh, so gross. I'm gonna go ahead and just wash this off so that my lid is nice and clean. And this is how the beef is looking so far. It's already cooked, but I'm gonna go ahead and just add in a couple pieces of squash that I found in my freezer. Usually I use pumpkin, but I don't have any pumpkin, and I find the squash is a great substitute. Just gonna put it together, the beef, for about 5 minutes. Okay, after about 5 minutes, once it's cooked, I'm gonna go ahead and just take it out and put it into my food processor because we are gonna blend it up. Usually I'd mash it, but I want to show you this beautiful technique to have some smooth and creamy soup. So good. Yes, my darlings, go ahead and just put it into the food processor. It's hot. I'm just adding a little splash of cold water in this and then blend it up, and then it's gonna be nice and smooth. And don't say Terri-Ann did not show you any tips and tricks. So once my squash was blended, I'm using my Le Creuset for the first time. Oh my goodness. And yes, we're going to go ahead and just add in some oil. I'm going to go ahead and add in the cooked beef. Then I'm going to add in some fresh green seasoning in there as well, because yes, my darlings, fresh green seasoning is a must. Yes, my loves, go ahead and just let the beef fry up in the seasonings for about, I want to say about 2 to 3 minutes. It was not that long. Then I'm going to go ahead and add in all of the beef stock from the pot. That's what the beef was cooking in. And then add in lots of seasonings, all that good stuff. Yes, my loves, this is just so simple, and make sure to check down below in the description box for all of the ingredients that I used. Once I added in my blended squash, I did rinse out the food processor and add the leftover water in the pan. Some black pepper, of course, and some spice Jamaica reggae blend. This is so flavorful, so perfect in soup as well. And then I'm just gonna go ahead and add in a little bit of mixed herbs. This is just some thyme, basil, marjoram, and parsley. And then I'm gonna add in my chopped up potatoes and carrots. Hubby's behind the scenes helping me sort that out. So yes, my darlings, this was just I think about 2 to 3 potatoes. We just cut it small with 2 carrots as well, cut it into rings. And then you want to let that cook for about 10 minutes or so before going in with your dumplings. Okay, now as you know, the dumplings was made earlier, so we're just gonna add it in after about 10 minutes. And then another thing that I like to add in my soup is some pasta. Oh, let's not forget the scotch bonnet pepper. Thing I like to add in my soup is like some pasta. My granny used to add it in hers, and I think it's so good. You don't want to add in too much, but it just, you know, a little bit makes so much of a difference. But yes, darlings, this is coming along so beautifully. And the one thing is, you just have to keep on checking the pot. Now usually if I'm making soup, I have yams and I have okra and have all the good stuff to throw in it, but I live in England and these things are just not as easy to source as in if I was back home. I would have so much more variety to add to my soup. Yes, I owe you guys a soup recipe when I'm in the Caribbean again. Yes, so for dumplings, I'm just making 4 or 5 big dumplings. I didn't want to make some small ones, I just wanted to make some big ones. Okay, but you can always just make the dumplings to your own preference, however big, small, different shapes and sizes, whatever you prefer. Obviously you can make that. Okay, so I got about 5 dumplings. I covered it up for a good 3 to 4 minutes before adding in the pasta. And yes, darlings, go ahead and mix it up well. So good. And yes, my darlings, I did also add some spinach in there as well. 1 ball of frozen spinach. And this soup was so good, so flavorful, absolutely beautiful. So after about an hour and a half in total, because the beef took about an hour to cook, and then I started adding other stuff in there, guys, I went ahead and removed that scotch bonnet pepper because I've been trying to feed baby from the pot and I really do not want the spice. This is the soup all done, looking absolutely amazing. I really hope you try it, and I'm gonna leave the sound on for the last part so you can hear that bubble. Thank you so much for watching, and I can't wait to see you in my next one.